Hello, this is Archie Dunlop with Talking Astrology with Archie on Thursday, June the 22nd, 2023. Today I want to talk about the missing submersible, or is it a submarine? I think it's a submersible. The one that was supposed to explore the Titanic. I think there has been some recent news that some noise was heard, some banging. That's maybe, I think it was some Canadian plane picked it up. But anyway, I want to look at the horoscope for the time it started its dive. I also want to look at the new moon, which actually took place the same day. It took place right after a new moon. Now, I'm not going to make any predictions about whether or not it's going to have a happy outcome because I can't see the benefit. As far as I can see, the chances of a rescue seem to be remote. I would need some really exceptional signs to say that it was going to be rescued. I mean, how would I go about finding these exceptional signs? Well, one thing you can do with astrology is something called horary. That means you ask a question and you set the exact time of that question and you create a horoscope. And on the basis of that horoscope, you can come up with a likely answer. Yeah, I could do that, but I don't think, as far as I can see, in a logical way, not an astrological way, just looking at what I can gather, looking at the news, it does seem that the chances are remote. On the other hand, okay, I could say, oh, I'm going to predict that they're all going to die, that it won't be found. Yeah, I could do that, but there's no honour in that for me. I'll be told that I'm stating the obvious, or perhaps that I'm just being morbid, or both, which is even worse. So instead, what I'm going to do is just going to look at the dive, and I'm going to really ask the question whether it was really a good thing to do, to be diving in a submarine or a submersible 2.5 miles below the ocean, given what was going on astrologically. But before I look at the charts, I want to consider the timeline, because it's on the basis of a timeline that I set up the charts. So, looking at the timeline, I'm going to here's the timeline. Sorry about the delay. Here you go. This is Wikipedia. This article on this incident and timeline of events. On June the 16th, the expedition to the Titanic departed from St John's, Newfoundland, aboard the research and expedition ship MV Polar Prince. The ship arrived at the dive site on the 17th of June, and the dive operation began the following day on the 18th of June at 9 o'clock. For the first hour and a half of the descent, the Titan communicated with the Polar Prince every 15 minutes, but communication stopped after a recorded communication at 11:47. So we've got some important times there. We've got 9 o'clock on June the 18th when the dive started, and 11:47 was the last communication. And I suppose one might assume that shortly after 11:47, I suppose maybe up to 15 minutes after 11:47, something went wrong. So, as far as the astrology is concerned, here is the first chart, and And this chart is a chart for the new moon. This is a new moon set for June 18th, 2023, 5:37 a.m. Actually, the time is London time, but the location is for the Titanic's final resting place. So yeah, just bear that in mind when I say Westminster, England. It's not set for Westminster, England. It's the time in Westminster, England, but the location is the Titanic. So that's the new moon. So what do we notice about this? Well, actually, I pointed this out some days ago when I was talking about this new moon. I mean, not that I talked about submarines, but I basically said that the new moon was probably fairly unfortunate on the basis of the fact that it's square Neptune. So you can see this new moon is at 26:43 Gemini. And where's Neptune? 27:39 Pisces. So new moon, square Neptune. So what is Neptune? Neptune is the god of the sea. Neptune is often associated with sea disasters, leaking pipes, leaking ships, things sinking. This is all Neptune. And so you have new moon, square Neptune. And then a few hours later you decide to dive into the Titanic, or dive down to have a look at the Titanic. Is that really sensible? I don't think so. I think that's actually easy astrology. I could almost have said, looking at that new moon in a flippant way, don't go playing around with submarines. I mean, that is obvious. So any basic knowledge of astrology, you would have under no circumstances gone diving in with a submarine. You really do need to consider this stuff. Also, with the new moon, you'll notice that the ascendant at the time of the new moon is 1735 Taurus, and Uranus is at 2106 Taurus. So Uranus was kind of rising at the time of the new moon, set for the Titanic site. Uranus is the planet of accidents. So that is, to my mind, another bad sign. And something else, the midheaven. Midheaven is at 2155 Capricorn, and Uranus is at 2106 Taurus. So Uranus is exactly trine the midheaven, and sextile the IC. I mean, normally trines with Uranus are not much of a serious thing, but we're looking at this new moon chart with the benefit of hindsight, and so maybe that trine just it didn't help. But I mean, the key point is that Uranus is rising. Then look at Mars for the new moon. It's 6:37 Leo, and it's square the ascendant at 1735 Taurus. Mars is a somewhat unfortunate planet in this situation, a planet of accidents, things going wrong, aggravation, that kind of thing. So it's not a great new moon chart to be going diving, looking for the Titanic. So let's look at another chart, the chart for 9 o'clock when the dive started. Now, I am 90% sure I've got the time zone correct. I've double checked it. I'm pretty sure this is a chart, and of course I was only taking one source. I was looking at Wikipedia. Maybe there's a different time, but I'm fairly comfortable that this is the right time. If I've got it wrong, I apologize. So, assuming I've got it right, you'll notice that Uranus is exactly on the midheaven. And look at the midheaven's degree. The midheaven is at 1712 Taurus at the time that dive started. Now let's go back to the new moon. On the ascendant, 1735 Taurus, with Uranus quite close to it. Then you go to the 9 o'clock. The angle has stayed the same. Uranus close to the midheaven at the time that dive started, and there's an echo with the new moon chart. So I think the chart for the start of the dive is not good. And look at Mars. Mars 1648 Leo, which is square the midheaven. Indeed, you're starting to get a Mars-Uranus square on the midheaven. So this is not good. This is not a good time to be starting a dive. I think if they had consulted an astrologer, not me personally, any astrologer. I mean, any astrologer with some basic knowledge of the subject. They could have been studying it for a week, and I think they would have told them to not do the dive. It's pretty simple stuff. Then we have the chart for 1147. So let's just change the time of this chart to 1147. This was the last signal. Not necessarily the chart of the actual accident or whatever caused malfunction, but fairly close to it. So if we do that, look at this. Neptune is now on the 7th house cusp. So we've got, and that's one other thing. The Sun is square Neptune because the new moon was square Neptune. The moon is moving off the Sun. Sun is square Neptune. Neptune is on the 7th house cusp. Sun is on the midheaven. Again, Neptune, planet of sea disasters. So I think this was quite clear. We have very clear astrology to show us to show us this disaster. Okay, we don't know if it's a disaster. They may be rescued. But really, if you are, and I'm sorry, I've said this several times, if you are planning on taking your submarine and going down 2.5 miles to the Titanic, and you don't consult astrology, I mean, why? Why would you not do that? I mean, particularly here when it's obvious, and they would have known there was a new moon, and they should have known that. I think that the new moon was square Neptune. Anyway, that's enough of that, and I'm now going to look at today's astrology, and today, as a reminder, is Thursday, June the 22nd, 2023. So what's going on? One thing I should have said yesterday is that the Sun and Moon are in a mutual reception. That means that the Sun is in Cancer, which is a sign ruled by the Moon, and the Moon is in Leo, which is a sign ruled by the Sun. So when you've got the Sun Moon in mutual reception, it's good. I mean, however difficult other stuff may be, having the Sun Moon mutual reception makes the day, that much easier. It means that, if we do get into a difficult situation, I don't mean being stuck in a submarine at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean, but, if we're in a situation which is not perhaps very comfortable, that mutual reception allows us a way to get out of it. It's about swapping things. So that's a general theme. So if you find yourself embarrassed or it's all a bit difficult, there are ways in many respects to get out of it because of a mutual reception. Having said that, there is going to be a lot of energy maybe some arguments. Look at this. So we've got a Moon Mars conjunction. Um, that it's quite angry, a Moon Mars conjunction. Um, there are people out there who really believe they're right, and particularly when you've got a Moon Mars conjunction in Leo. Leo is a sign that has a strong belief in itself. Um, Leo doesn't like being contradicted, so be aware of that. And furthermore, the Moon is making a square of Uranus, so Moon is bringing together this Mars-Uranus square, so it's quite explosive in a way. Yes, we may be able to get out of the situation because of the Sun-Moon mutual reception, but we have to be quick about it because people are really burning up with anger. Okay, not everyone, but some people are just quite angry and not prepared to compromise. And when you've got anything to do with Mars and Uranus, the Mars-Uranus square becomes exact in a few days' time. But while the Moon is around the degree of Mars-Uranus, we are going to be accident prone. So whatever you're doing, don't do anything dangerous. When you see something dangerous about to happen, just say, no, I'm not going to do it. It may seem boring, but really, it is the right thing to do. On a positive note, the Moon, having made that square to Uranus, makes a sextile to Mercury. So Moon-Mercury sextile, it's a great influence. It's good for communicating. It's not violent. It can perhaps smooth things over. So if we do find ourselves in an argument, even quite a nasty argument, and we sit it out, eventually things will start to ease, and through verbal skill, we can smooth ruffled feathers, and things should return to normal. Okay, now as far as my forecasts for the 12 signs are concerned, here we go. Aries, you're an exciting person and you can make things happen in business and also creatively and romantically. But not everyone can handle surprises. Taurus, you're capable of causing trouble. Your stubborn individualism could upset family and friends. By giving something away, you make yourself stronger. Gemini, consider the situation and then choose your words carefully. Getting the timing right is essential. Cancer, you're taking money seriously and you're prepared to aggressively defend your corner. But don't argue for the sake of it. Leo, you're in the right place and you know how to protect your own interests. At work, a bit of shock and awe can work wonders. Virgo, you work your magic without having to make a fuss. Your broad strategy is well planned, but it works best under a cloak of darkness. Libra, love has many manifestations, and today the difference between one type of love and another type becomes clear. In general, people are challenging but rewarding. Scorpio, at work you are very focused, but someone's stupidity can put a spanner in the works. Always have a standby plan. Sagittarius, things are okay, but you might feel that it's all a bit boring and that a change is required. Go for it, provided you can handle the disruption. Capricorn, your feelings are beginning to fire and at some level you're looking for personal transformation. But don't take yourself too seriously. Aquarius, it's best to stand back and let the rest of the world have their fun. In relationships, you have to ask whether it's worthwhile to engage with your partner, at least in the short term. Pisces, there are lots of things to do, and in many respects, your immediate environment needs to be completely reorganized. The first change is the hardest change. Okay, that's it for astrology, and I will now turn to the I Ching. Oh, I should say before I leave this slide that this map up there, this big chunk of blue, that's the North Atlantic Ocean. Sorry, I should have pointed that out earlier, and that's up there. That's bits of Canada or Newfoundland or something. It's around here that the Titanic went down, and where the submersible was looking for the submarine. Anyway, so as far as the I Ching is concerned, I threw the 3 coins. I asked the question, what is Thursday going to be like for visitors to my YouTube channel? And I got hexagram number 61, inner truth. And it doesn't move. So when you've got a hexagram that doesn't move, there's a certain suggestion of stagnation. Where are you going with this thing? So inner truth is about something which is absolutely clear. Everyone can understand it. The I Ching talks about pigs and fishes. Even pigs and fishes can understand this truth. Why pigs and fishes? I think pigs and fishes were considered to be maybe stubborn animals, unintelligent animals. Well, that's not right, because obviously we know that pigs are super intelligent. But anyway, even pigs and fishes can understand this truth. This truth is self-evident, and it kind of means that we understand the truth in ourselves. We know what is true. It's absolutely obvious to us. But the problem seems to be that, yes, today we know what's true for ourselves. It's an inner truth. It makes sense to us. It's got to be true. Yes, we know the truth, but so what? Unfortunately, knowing the truth is not really enough. I don't know if any of you have ever been in psychotherapy. Yeah, I went to a psychotherapist for a few years, and it's very interesting. You can get some powerful insights about yourself and your childhood. You can understand it. You can understand why you are what you are. But so what? It doesn't actually help you in terms of changing. At least that's my experience. Just because you know the truth doesn't mean a thing. Changing is almost impossible. That's a terrible thing. It's difficult, almost impossible to change people, and that, I think, is a problem with psychotherapy. Personal transformation, nice idea. In practice, it just doesn't happen, and this is the problem here with this inner truth. Are we going to be able to change ourselves by knowing the inner truth? Are we going to be able to change other people? Probably not, particularly as this truth is locked. So I'm not going to end on a wonderfully encouraging note. I'm just going to say that knowing the truth isn't enough, and you have to decide what you're going to do with the truth. It may be you have to be patient. Yeah, I mean, but it's okay. I mean, it's not a bad hexagram. It's just a bit stagnant, I would have said, because it doesn't move anywhere. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say for today. and I will talk to you tomorrow.